Oh god, that's awkward. I'm ready to be transported to the French Alps. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you guys are new here, my name is Nicole and I make bookish videos. Today I'm going to be showing you guys what I purchased on Black Friday as well as my December book of the month subscription. I am so excited, you guys. I ordered like 26 books. I mean, 3 of them were with a subscription box and 23 of them were from Book Outlet. So if you guys haven't checked out Book Outlet, they have amazing deals on books. I'm just really excited. So we're just gonna go with it and hope that it's as smooth as possible. The first thing is book of the month. So we're just gonna open it. Whew, satisfying. So the first book that I got is In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, and honestly, I actually don't really know what this is about. I mostly bought it because I heard it talked about so much on Bookstagram. I haven't really read like winter holiday books, and that's crazy to me because Christmas has always been my favorite holiday, and I don't know what's been going on, but I'm happy to be finally jumping on the train now. This is basically about Malin Jones, who's living with her parents, hates her going nowhere job, and has just made a romantic error of epic proportions. But perhaps worst of all, this is the last Christmas May will be at her favorite place in the world, the snowy Utah cabin where she and her family have spent the holidays every year since she was born, along with 2 other beloved families. Mentally melting down as she drives away from the cabin for the final time, May throws out what she thinks is a simple plea to the universe. Please, show me what will make me happy. The next thing she knows, tires screech and metal collides, everything goes black, but when May gasps awake, she's on an airplane bound for Utah, where she begins the same holiday all over again. With one hilarious disaster after another sending her back to the plane, May must figure out how to break free of the strange time loop and finally get her true love under the mistletoe. This is amazing. It kind of reminds me of Groundhog Day, where he just keeps reliving the day over and over again. So I'm very down for it. I'm excited to give this a read. So the next one is The Wife Upstairs. This is a thriller that's a modern retelling of Jane Eyre. And so I don't really know a lot about it, but I know there's a woman named Jane who moves and no one really knows who she is. And so I'm sure stuff is about to go down. I'm not really going to go into it, but I just felt like it was very interesting. I haven't read Jane Eyre, but if I like this book, I'll definitely go ahead and give that one a try as well. Because it is on my book reading list, but that's not saying much because I have at least like 500 books on my book reading list. The next book, One by One by Ruth Ware, is basically a thriller about a company who goes on a holiday trip kind of to a ski chalet in the French Alps. And then a blizzard happens and they're basically trapped inside the ski chalet and people start dying one by one, and it's kind of like figuring out who the culprit is. This gives me kind of The Devil vibes. If you guys have watched that movie, it's a horror that's basically like one person keeps dying in the elevator and you don't know who's the possessed one. So I really like that kind of vibe. I am very interested to seeing how this goes, and Ruth Ware is definitely known for being really atmospheric. I'm ready to be transported to the French Alps. Okay, so now we have the 2 boxes that I received from Book Outlet, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of calm music as I'm trying to open these bad boys.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. You and I, the future is bright.
Okay, so we've got it open regardless. I just kind of powered through it. So it's gonna... Oh my gosh, you guys. This whole box is stuffed with books. Okay, so let's dig in. So the first book is The Rose and the Beast, Fairy Tales Retold by Francesca Leah Block. And I have to be honest, it was definitely a cover buy. It just looks so magical and whimsical. Kind of has Ever After vibes, which is a Cinderella kind of retelling that was starring Drew Barrymore, if you guys know what I'm talking about. It has like a similar kind of Renaissance fairy vibes. But basically this is about different fairy tales that are retold, and I think that they might be darker and more lustful or magical, I'm not really sure, but anything to do with fairy tales, like, I'm there. So the next book that I got is called How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather, and from what I understand, this is basically a take on the Salem witch trials, where this girl moves back to her neighborhood with her mom, and she's a descendant of one of the people who put the accused witches to trial, and then there's like a group of girls who are basically the descendants of witches, and so there's a bit of like Mean Girls kind of vibes here, but it looked very appealing and it sounded honestly really good. Okay, so the next book that I got is Roseblood by A.G. Howard, and this is basically inspired by Phantom of the Opera, where this girl, it has the most beautiful voice, but she gets really sick and ill every time she performs, and so she gets sent off to a place to, I think, perform Phantom of the Opera, like, musical, and there she sees this ghost guy who kind of doesn't have any classes there, but he just disappears into thin air, and he seems to want her for a sinister reason, but she seems to fall in love with this one dude, and he seems to make her feel better. I'm really interested to seeing how this goes because I have not yet come across a Phantom of the Opera retelling. Okay, so the next thing that I got was The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James, and this was not a cover buy, this was a buy because I thought it was really interesting. So this is about a girl named Romy Silvers who basically lives in space, but her parents tragically die and she ends up alone, speeding away from Earth. She's like very alone. She's like FaceTiming with her therapist to keep her company, but she just feels like really sad. All of a sudden, she gets a notification that this ship called the Eternity will be joining the Infinity. And she begins exchanging messages, but she's kind of confused who this guy is, who's the captain of the Eternity, and like what he wants with her ship. And so I think that there's like a sinister kind of meaning to it, which sounds like my kind of sci-fi for sure. So the next book that I got, I'm really excited about, is called The Night Tiger by Yangzi Chu. I'm particularly really excited about this book because the author is a Malaysian writer of Chinese descent, and I'm Malaysian. Yeah. So this book is kind of like a mystery, magical realism about this girl named Jilin, who is an apprentice dressmaker. She works at nighttime as a dance hall girl to pay off her mother's mahjong debts. People start dying, and there's legends that saying like men who can transform into tigers are essentially like the cause of these gruesome deaths. I can already tell, fingers crossed, that I'm gonna love it, and I'm definitely going to be putting this high up on my TBR for next year. The next book that I got is The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd, and this is about Juliet Moreau, who has built her life for herself in London, working as a maid and trying to forget the scandal that ruined her life. And so basically these rumors are that her father does really gruesome experiments. She realizes that he's alive and well, currently working on his questionable experiments on a remote island, and she goes to visit to see if the accusations are actually true. Basically, he's been performing experiments on animals so that they can act and perform and just behave like humans. So I don't really know what else to say. It sounds really creepy, but it also sounds really interesting. I'm here for that kind of dark fantasy, weird, creepy vibe, so yeah. So the next book that I got is Flame in the Mist by Renee Audier, and this is basically about Marika, who, because she's a woman, was never able to pursue anything, even though she's really intelligent and an accomplished alchemist, and so she's set to meet her betrothed, who lives in a palace, and basically there's like an attempted assassination, and so it's quite clear that the betrothed, or the prince, like tried to kill her, and so I think she's going to get revenge by dressing as a boy. This is set in feudal Japan, and I'm really excited, guys. This just sounds really interesting. It's got like slight Mulan vibes. Okay, so the next book that I got is The Valiant by Leslie Living. And so from what I understand, I think her parents were killed and she's basically sold into becoming a gladiator. She gets basically sent to an elite female gladiator school to perform and learn so that she can fight in the arena, and this is all under the rule of Julius Caesar. Basically, she starts getting the hots for a Roman soldier, but it's like basically not a thing because her father was a proud Celtic king. This is a historical fantasy romance, and I haven't really heard of anything like this before, so I'm really hoping that these are all going to be 5-star reads because the plots alone make me want to give them a 5-star. Okay, so the next book I got is Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. And this book is about a girl named Theodosia who basically was 6 years old when her country was invaded and her mother was murdered in front of her. And so the Kaiser took over the kingdom. They crowned her as the Ash Princess to basically, I don't know, give her shame as a prisoner or something like that. And so she was a captive for 10 years, and then something happens. It's not really said what happens, but something horrible happens, and basically she realizes that she doesn't just want to survive, she wants to reclaim the throne. So there's gonna be some badass female action in here, and I'm excited and ready for that. Whew, guys. Still have the other box too. The next book that I got is Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton, and this is really beautiful. Long ago, a village made a bargain with the devil to ensure their prosperity. When the slaughter moon rises, the village must sacrifice a young man to the depths of the devil's forest. Only this year, the slaughter moon has risen early. Bound by duty, secrets, and the love they share for one another, Merwin, a spirited witch, Run, the expected saint, and Arthur, a restless outcast, will each have a role to play as the devil demands a body to fill the bargain. But the devil these friends find is not the one they expect, and the lies they uncover will turn their town and their hearts inside out. Something's gone wrong with the bargain. So it just sounds really interesting, kind of paranormal type read, and I don't really have anything to say about it because I honestly haven't really heard about most of these books, but I'm hoping that I can find some hidden gems so I can talk about them with you guys. Okay, the next book that I got is The Paris Hours by Alex George, and I've heard about this book and I've been really attracted to the cover for a really long time. So this book is a historical fiction set in 1927 about a few ordinary citizens living extraordinary stories. And so there's like a housemaid, Camille, and there's Guillaume, who's a lovesick painter, and Soren, an Armenian refugee who performs puppet shows for children. And so it just sounds like a very interesting and heartwarming book. I kind of want to go into this without knowing very much about it just because it is so interesting, and it's also kind of not that long of a book, but I really do like historical fiction. It's really grown on me ever since I read The Japanese Lover, so I am excited to read this story. So this book is called Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. This one is a thick one. This one is 575 pages. This is definitely not like a readathon sprinting kind of book. Like, it would take me a long time. This book is basically a retelling of Les Mis, which really attracted me to it, and it's starring Chatine, who reminds me of Eponine, Marcellus. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but it looks really interesting and almost kind of like futuristic. So I don't know if this is like a sci-fi fantasy or, you know, historical fiction retelling, but I am very interested to seeing what this is because also Les Mis just has a really soft spot in me. I've loved it and all of the songs ever since I was a little girl, so I'm really interested in reading this and seeing if it's good. The next book that I got is The Cold in Her Bones by Petronelle van Arsdale, and the cover is beautiful. It's definitely a cover buy, and from what I understand, this is kind of a paranormal with monsters / demons. Like, just the back alone says, to protect your home from demons. 1, if you see a snake, kill it, then burn it. 2, pour salt where the air comes in. Sills, thresholds, hearths. 3, stay inside after dark. Lock tight doors and windows for prey. So I'm guessing like a post-apocalyptic kind of vibe. This basically is about a girl named Milla who lives on a farm. Basically, this girl comes to town named Iris, and she has a secret that the village is cursed by a demon who possesses girls at random. Basically, the demon has come for Iris, and so Mila basically ends up trying to rescue her to break the curse forever, but Mila is changing too and may soon be a demon herself. The Cold Is in Her Bones is a novel about the dark, reverberating power of pain, the yearning to be seen and understood, and the fragile optimism of love. I love that so much. That's so beautiful. I feel like this is definitely gonna really hurt my heart. It definitely sounds like a tearjerker, but it's okay. I'm ready to get hurt. So the last book in this box, thank goodness, I feel like I'm losing my voice, is The Devouring Gray by Christine Lynn Herman, and I have heard a lot of good things about this book. The cover is so beautiful. I also really love how most of these books are hardcovers. So this is about Violet Saunders, whose sister dies and she ends up getting dragged to New York, and she finds out basically that she belongs to one of the revered founding families of the town where danger lurks in the depths of the woods. There's like 2 more people who it's about, but basically the Gray is a lifeless dimension that imprisons a brutal monster, and it's getting stronger every day and its victims are piling up. Violet, I guess, accidentally unleashes the monster, and then her and her 2 friends are going to have to get together and basically save the day. All for that. Love monsters and anything like that. It sounds a bit spooky, a bit of a thriller, but it also has that kind of paranormal magical element to it that really hooks me. I honestly don't even know. I still have to film my 21 books I want to read in 2021, and yikes, because I'm pretty sure like most of them are going to be from here now, but I still have my whole TBR card of amazing books that I've been meaning to read. So now we're going to open the last one. I don't know where the scissors. Haha! Okay. Let's see. Ooh, beautiful. How is it possible that I still have a fat stack of books to go through? Yikes. Okay, so this book is called Tigers Not Daughters. This is about a family. Their sister passed away, and there seems to be a paranormal element to it, like they're feeling and kind of seeing her presence around. And there's like a message that she's trying to perceive, but they don't really know what it is. And so it's definitely got a magical realism element to it. But the cover is absolutely stunning. I'm interested to seeing where this goes. So the next book that I got is The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. And can we just talk about the cover? It's so beautiful, and it's actually even a little bit sparkly, which I like. And I'm getting kind of, what's that like cowboy world show? You guys, that Westworld or something like that? This is the kind of vibe that I'm getting, like Westworld meets Black Mirror meets Disney Princess Snow White. So basically this is about the Kingdom, which is a fantasy theme park where guests can do super cool things, and one of the highlights are the Fantasists, which are beautiful android hybrid princesses whose sole purpose is to make dreams come true. Anna is the most popular one, but she meets this guy named Owen and basically begins to fall in love. Eventually Owen goes missing, and she's accused kind of murder, and she basically has to share her own memories, and this might tell the truth about either if she's innocent or guilty, and if robots can actually learn to love. The next book that I purchased is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert, and I actually bought this with one of my friends because we're planning on doing a buddy read. And this is basically about Alice and her mother, who are kind of always on the road to avoid bad luck, but then Alice's grandmother basically passes away and leaves her estate to them, and there's a forest there, and her grandma is basically like a cult favorite kind of creepy story author or whatever, and so they go to stay, and almost instantly like stuff hits the fan, and Alice's mother is almost abducted immediately by this magical man creature who claims to be from the world that the grandma was writing about in her stories. So she goes to look for her mother and hopefully save her, and she's probably going to discover that maybe the grandmother's stories and writings were not as fake as she thought they were. The next book that I got is Bad Girls with Perfect Faces by Lynn Weingarten. And this is basically a thriller about Sasha's best friend who gets back together with his cheating ex, and she decides that it's a good idea to basically catfish him and try to save him from his cheating ex, but I'm guessing things go horribly wrong. The next book that I got is Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, and I've been seeing this on Amazon for a while, but have never really been just driven to buy it because I usually buy books that I've already been planning on. So this is basically about a girl named Evie who has been labeled as a freak, a witch, because her best friend Anna drowned, and then this girl who has an uncanny resemblance to Anna appears on the shore, and Evie's convinced that her best friend survived, and they catch the eyes and hearts of two charming princes. Evie believes that she might finally have a chance for happily ever after. But her new friend has secrets of her own she can't stay and have instead, or on two legs unless Evie helps her. Now Evie will do anything to save her friend's humanity and her prince's heart, harnessing the power of her magic, her ocean, and her love until she discovers too late what she's bargained away. Love retellings, so I'm pretty positive I'm going to enjoy this. Okay, the next book that I got is Splintered by A.G. Howard. This is about a girl named Alyssa Gardner who hears the thoughts of planets and insects, and she thinks that she's being delusional because her mother's currently in an institution, and apparently her great-grandmother, Alice Adele, is what inspired Lewis Carroll to write Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, until possibly she discovers that everyone might not be as crazy as they think. So the next book that I got is Killing November by Adriana Mather. This is basically about a group of teenagers who are training to be assassins. They go to the most prestigious assassination kind of school, and instead of learning calculus, they learn how to wield a blade. So this just sounds a lot of interesting stuff is about to go down. There's probably going to be violence and romance and jealousy and all that kind of stuff. So I'm ready for the drama to start. The next book that I got is People Like Us by Dana Mealy, and this is really cute. It's got a little plaid bookbinding as well as just really cute little uniforms. I believe this is a thriller. So this is about Kay Donovan may have skeletons in her closet, but the past is past, and she's reinvented herself entirely. Now she's a star soccer player whose group of gorgeous friends run their private school with effortless popularity and exquisite wit. But when a girl's body is found in the lake, Kay's carefully constructed life begins to topple. The dead girl has left Kay a computer-coded scavenger hunt, which, as it unravels, begins to implicate suspect after suspect, until Kay herself is in the crosshairs of a murder investigation. But if Kay's finally backed into a corner, she'll do what it takes to survive, because at Bates Academy, the truth is something you make, not something that happened. So I think Kay might be a little guilty. Very interesting. I like kind of the Gossip Girl, Riverdale dark vibes to it, and we'll definitely be checking this out soon. And finally, and I can feel the voice strain, guys, my voice is hurting. I might lose my voice, actually. I was gonna try to film another video after this, but that's not happening because this video took me so long and I'm on the verge of losing my voice. But the last book that I bought was The Lanterns Ember by Colleen Hook. The cover is so stunning. It has little fireflies and a beautifully decorated skull, as well as just vines, different floral fauna stuff around. So this is about Ember O'Dare, who has a secret. She's a natural-born witch. From an early age, she's had a knack for crafting potions and felt an indescribable pull to the ancient bridge in her town of Hollowell. Little does Amber know, the bridge is a gateway to the other world, a realm crawling with fiendish beasts. And Jack, an ever-vigilant watchman, is committed to keeping meddlesome mortals away. His task is simple, or it would be, if he weren't falling for the very witch he's trying to keep out. Undeterred by Jack's warnings, Ember crosses into the forbidden plane and sets off a chase through a world beyond her wildest imaginings. Now Jack must do everything in his power to rescue his true love before both the earthly and unearthly worlds descend into chaos. It sounds very magical and dark, so I'm very interested to seeing how it goes. I apologize if I've said it sounds interesting or I'm excited to check it out 70 times, but I don't really know what else to say. I feel very overwhelmed in a good way. My body is ready to read these books, although I read very slowly. Thank you guys so much for watching my very chaotic unboxing book of the month and book outlet Black Friday haul, but I am putting myself on a book buying ban starting January so that I can just work on all the books that I have already and basically keep up with myself, because I was initially keeping up with myself and then I started buying books and then life just got chaotic. I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!